Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal and West Ham have agreed a deal for Declan Rice, close to 100 million pounds. We're going to be diving into the details of that story as broken by Jacob Steinbach by The Guardian. He's been writing this story, he's been working on this story in the last few weeks, and I think he's been the lead journalist on it. Better than Fabrizio Romano, better than David Ornstein. He's broken it actually faster than Fabrizio. The Arsenal and West Ham have agreed a deal on Declan Rice. Of course, we expect Arsenal to close all the other aspects of this deal in the coming weeks, in the coming hours of this week. We also expect Arsenal and Declan Rice to announce the signing very, very soon. It's a huge story. He's such a fantastic player, and Arsenal have just signed a very important member of our squad for the next 10 years. Potentially a future captain, potentially a Champions League winner for me, potentially a Premier League winner. Decades will be an Arsenal in the next days of this week. It doesn't come as a surprise to me. Since yesterday, I've been reporting the same story that Arsenal will sign Declan Rice this week. And many of you actually in the comment section have been really asking me when this is going to happen. I thought it would happen maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. It has just happened today. Declan Rice, Arsenal and West Ham have agreed a 100 million pound deal. But for me, the question in the comment box for you there, lads, is he a winner? Does he then make us win that Premier League? Does he take us to the success that we have not seen in the last 2 decades? That's 20 years. We've not won the UEFA Champions League ever in our lives. So is it a kind of signing that you feel just draws that line in the sand and, you know, just holds Arsenal's hand and helps us cross that line? We've been there on a couple of occasions. This season we've been there. Maybe if you had the profile of Declan Rice, we could have won the Premier League. Last campaign as well, we were on that same line and we wanted to go back to Europe, to the UEFA Champions League, and Tottenham Hotspur somehow beat us to the deadline. So is Declan Rice a player that you see can win silverware for Arsenal? Is he a big signing in your mind? And is he the guy that wins silverware for us? Let me know in the comment box below. And do you want him to be a future Arsenal captain as well? But of course, give me your reactions, give me your thoughts in the comment box below. The agreement has been reached. Arsenal will close this deal in the coming hours by outlining a few details. Now, this is according to Jacob Steinbach, writing with The Guardian, said Arsenal closing in on a 100 million deal for West Ham midfielder Declan Rice. And down here it says that Arsenal are now very close to agreeing a fee with West Ham for Declan Rice and are expected to pay more than 100 million for the midfielder if certain add-ons are achieved. And look, listen, that is where the big point is. He says Arsenal will pay over 100 million, above 100 million, if certain add-ons are achieved. It means the deal is already in place. It means that we've already agreed what's going to happen, when and where. I'm really interested to know how much we're going to pay up front. Maybe 90, maybe 85. But if all the clauses are actually achieved, Arsenal will pay more than 100 million for Declan Rice. Now, let's run into some of the depth of this article and we see what he's been talking about. It says West Ham have accepted they are going to lose Rice and Arsenal are ready to make him the most expensive player in their history. A bid is yet to be submitted. That is very, very critical at this stage. But it says talks between the clubs have been progressing smoothly, and there is confidence that the deal will be finalized very, very soon. He says Arsenal made Rice their top target and will face no issues when it comes to personal terms, like I reported in my last story. And it's saying they are moving quickly in an effort to ensure the deal goes through without any hitches, and have been keen to pay about 90 million for the 24-year-old for quite some time now. West Ham want as much as possible and have asked for add-ons that would take the fee to far more than 100 million. Arsenal's transfer record is 72 million paid for Nicolas Pepe in 2019. Sources believe the prospect of a rival club trying to sign Rice now, trying to sign the West Ham captain, are receding. Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United have all looked at signing Declan Rice, but Arsenal, who are looking for ways to move out Pepe and Cedric Soares, have been the most aggressive in attempting to buy him this summer. Mikel Arteta is a huge admirer of the England international and is determined to add him to his squad. Arteta believes Rice will be key to helping Arsenal mount another challenge for the Premier League title and is prepared to make space for the midfielder by allowing Granit Xhaka to join Bayer Leverkusen in this summer. Arsenal are considering bidding for Brighton midfielder Moises Caicedo, who is wanted by Chelsea, and are trying to sign Manchester City's Ilkay Gundogan on a free transfer in this summer as well. And he says Rice is a fan of Mikel Arteta's football and has rejected West Ham's attempt to keep him at the club. David Sullivan, who's West Ham's largest shareholder, said last week that the player had turned down a contract extension worth $200,000 per week. Rice signed off a positive note when he led West Ham to a victory against Fiorentina in the Europa Conference League final. West Ham are looking for replacements for Rice and are interested in Ajax Edson Alvarez, Fulham's Joao Palhinha, and Southampton's James Ward-Prowse. Yours truly, The Guardian. Big story. Absolute big story. I think we've started off the summer better than any other club. And I pray that this is the momentum that we keep as we go through the summer. If you get Rice, and you potentially get Caicedo, and you potentially run for Ilkay Gundogan, and you push for Moussa Diaby, and then you push for maybe Joao Cancelo. That is the dream summer transfer window that Arsenal want, and that potentially makes us title contenders, like real title contenders. I know we were last campaign, but that would make us real title contenders. Now, look, it's a huge article, and we're gonna break it down. We are really going to react to it. One, I think the agreement was there already in place since last week, right? But I think it was all about the add-ons, because when Jacob Steinberg writes there, he says that Arsenal have always wanted to pay 90 million, but West Ham want to get them as much as they can, the maximum amount of money they could get from Declan Rice. And that's why there is an agreement there that there will be clauses, right, and bonuses, and if those clauses are activated, the price will rise to 100 million pounds. This is absolutely crazy. This is really crazy, because the last time we paid a lot of money, it was for a transfer flop in Nicola Pepe. Now we've gone like bold, like absolutely bold. 100 million. That is double what we paid for Benjamin White. That's double what we paid for White. And that is 3 times what we paid for Martin Odegaard. It's absolutely bonkers. It's absolute sins here, for me. But look, is it worth 100 million pounds? Let's talk about that debate first. Is it worth the 100 million pounds that Arsenal have paid? I don't think that I have a reason to doubt Mikel Arteta and Edu after what they have done in the last 3 years. Thomas Partey has been a revelation of his signing, despite the fact that he's been injury prone. But when he's played, he's been one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Benjamin White has had an exciting season at right back, despite the fact that we didn't approve of him. And for me, the only signing here that must prove to anyone that Arteta knows what he's doing and Edu knows what he's doing as well is Aaron Ramsdale. Ramsdale literally signed for 30 million euros, 35 million euros, rising to 40. And we all, including myself, said, why would we go for a relegated goalkeeper if Andre Onana is there? There's so many other goalkeepers I wanted at the moment, at the time then. I don't remember the names now. But Ramsdale has gone on to become one of the best young goalkeepers in Europe. Actually, for me, he's the best young goalkeeper in Europe. Yes, there are a few other good goalkeepers I look at in his age bracket. But in the next 2-3 years, if he can get that experience and then have a solid backline in front of him, he will win titles. It's going to be a real big signing for us now. So Declan Rice, and why I think this is quite a very positive and very good move. I think we needed some kind of inspiration, but then we also needed some kind of statement to these players and this squad. How do you propel a squad that has pushed Manchester City for 248 days to go again? How do you propel them? What do you tell them? It's all about the psychology. And I think this is a huge signing in terms of stepping in for Granit Xhaka, but it's a huge signing mentally. It's a signing that redefines our squad. It's a signing that redefines, our ambition. And next season, if all these boys have not been believing that we could win silverware, Rice is going to be a real testament now. It's going to tell them, we've won a European underdog cup. Okay, a European cup. I don't want to write it off because we don't have it. At West Ham. Who thought the West Ham, they were battling relegation for almost the better part of the season, would win silverware? Like, I bet they made a parade. I didn't watch their parade. I want to watch Arsenal parades. I don't want to watch other clubs parading their trophies. But I bet they made a parade. And this year, if the police were making arrangements for security, the police in London made arrangements to protect West Ham on their trophy parade. Can you believe it? So for me, that is what Declan Rice is. He might not be that big, experienced guy who is a winner, but he is a player, definitely. He is a player that comes in with huge ambitions, redefines our ambitions as a club, and brings in that, feeling of we are now a big club, right? And that's why I've told you at the beginning of this video that I was listening to Ale Oladipo at on TalkSport, and he was saying that this makes you scared as a rival fan, especially as a Liverpool fan, because for the last better part of the last half a decade, Liverpool have been, the number two. They've been the club that pushes Manchester City. Right now, they're signing Alexis McAllister for 35 million. They're signing maybe Kone, maybe Thuram for 30 million as well. Those are good signings, right? But when Arsenal sign Rice on top of Odegaard, we are really looking at taking over that spot of we are the daily pushers of Manchester City. And when Manchester City drop their standards, the club that are willing to pick up the remains will be Arsenal and potentially overtake Manchester City as well. Now, look, it's not going to be easy for us to take over Manchester City, but these kind of signings, 2 or 3 more of these, and we will be in a much better place. Imagine if we get a striker like Dusan Vlahovic, just for starters, if we get a player like Dusan Vlahovic in there, and then we can have Declan Rice, and we can have Caicedo as well, and then we can have Odegaard. That already is real quality. That is quality that poses a threat for Real Madrid. That's that's quality that poses a threat for Bayern, and quality that poses a threat for Barcelona. And why I'm very happy actually with these signings and this kind of project is it comes at a time when every club around Europe is rebuilding themselves. This is the next 3 years are the best time to win the UEFA Champions League. The next 3 years are the best time to win the Premier League, because you look at all the establishments in Europe right now. It's Manchester City that have a squad that will win the treble every single season on paper. I don't think Bayern win the UEFA Champions League every single season. And I think Bayern still have a lot of work to do on themselves. Yes, they do have a quality squad. They just need to do a little bit of panic beating. But I don't think Bayern are the kind of team that threaten me, right? Especially with that performance I saw against Manchester City. They can beat you on their day, but they can lay down on a bad day as well. PSG, of course, we know in Europe, they have always been a joke. They're coming from Neymar to Wilfried Zaha, which is very good in terms of financial fair play, but very poor for them in terms of the trajectory and where we had actually known them for. Barca are building, and Madrid are building as well. Juve are struggling with financial fair play rules. So you look at all these clubs around Europe, and because we've not spent a lot of money in the last 20 years, we have the money to spend. And we are very clear of FFP rules, right? So for me, it's a huge signing. And now it has defined the ambition of this football club. It has redefined what Arsenal is all about. It has redefined what Arsenal want to do. And it has redefined where the next stage of this project is. Because the process has come to a time where we ask for fruits from this process. It has come to a time where we demand trophies, silverware, doubles, trebles from this from this process, right? I don't think us next season will be looking at. I mean, there is no point in looking at top 4. There is no point in looking at UEFA Champions League qualification. I mean, qualification for UEFA Champions League with Rice, Odegaard, and Caicedo and Partey, that should come as a bare minimum. Like when it should be the daily motivation. When we get to the UEFA Champions League, we'll try to win it. Like every single season now, that has to come into play. But it's also a very good signing given the fact that it's going to be a lot of competition next season. I'm looking at Newcastle. I'm looking at them with my little long binoculars. And I'm like, what are you going to do? What are you really, really going to do? You want Caicedo? You want Maddison? You want all these other players? What are you really going to do? How far are you willing to go to protect top four, right? Because Newcastle have been in top four. Next season, it's easier for them to fall off, or it's easier for them to go above the levels they've actually, established because they've got the money. Manchester United, I think they will be in around the top four for the next 10 years. Like, we know how huge they are. I think Qatar will buy them. And with such signings that Arsenal are making, definitely, I think, they will be back in the market. Chelsea will be back. Of course, they have no football next season in Europe, so all they have to do is win 38 games and win the Premier League. As simple as that. I mean, Arsenal have done it. We've won the Premier League without being beaten. But Rice is going to be at the Emirates Stadium, guys. We are going to see Arsenal's lineup next season with Rice in midfield and Odegaard. Just clears a lot. It just really, really clears a lot. But of course, we'll talk in the morning much about this story. That is the breaking story. Jacob Steinberg and The Guardian confirming that there is an agreement and Arsenal are now closing in on the deal. See you very, very soon.